Creativity makes you a more interesting person. There's no doubt about it. It also makes you more resourceful, and if you're an entrepreneur, which you probably are if you're watching this show, it actually puts more money in the bank account. So we're gonna take your creativity from here to like a level 10, and if you're lucky, we might go level 11. So let's get into that right now. Hey guys, my name is Eddie Hood, and you are watching The Profitable Entrepreneur. Welcome back, you beautiful people. I just got done reading a paper by Dr. Ian Phillips and Professor Ruth Rentschler, and they created a paper called The Role of Creativity in Entrepreneurship. And one of my favorite parts of that was that they talked about how our industry has gone from a very laborious thing to a knowledge-based workforce. So obviously we all know that. We've gone from working in factories and working in farmland to working with computers, but now things have shifted even to a new realm, according to their paper. We've gone from a knowledge-based work environment to a creative-based work environment. And the reason why that is because everybody has access to the internet, because everybody has access to so many great things instantly. The only way to get ahead, the only way to actually make a difference is to be creative and take all of these resources and create something new. So it's not just enough to be on the internet. It's not just enough to actually have a YouTube show or a digital marketing agency or whatever it is that you do. You have to take your resources and be more creative. So I'm going to give you a list of several things you can do today to amp up your creativity and really go nuts. Creativity is often overlooked by business owners because, we want to be stuffy and we want to follow by the book and do what we learned in our MBA programs, and we want to just do, we want to fit in and be the blue suits or whatever it is. Creativity is looked at as this like spiritual thing, almost spiritual thing, where like it's this ambiguous like skill set that you either have it or you don't. You're born an artist or you're not, and I was born a suit and I'm an entrepreneur, so I am a black and white kind of person. Well, the fact of the matter is everybody's creative, you're creative, and we just have to pull that out of you. So how are we going to do that? As a business owner, you need to make a decision, because if you don't actually imbue creativity into your business, you actually get a culture of fear. If you don't allow people to kind of explore ideas and fail and learn new things, then it's like this rule book system, and people operate out of fear, and instead of making the best decision for you and your organization, they make the best decision for themselves to protect their job, and that's not where you want to be. So as we inject creativity into your life and your company's life today, know that you're going to be getting rid of that fear-based culture in your business, and that's only a good thing for you. Tip number 1 to getting creative. This is an actual decision you have to make in your head, because a lot of people think, I ain't creative, I can't do anything with my life other than just sit at a computer and punch numbers into it. You've got to make the decision that, you know what, I can be creative, I can create things, I can write books, I can paint, I can do whatever, but I can also take business problems and I can turn them into business solutions because I find ways to make things happen. So you have to change your I am statement. This is something where you say to yourself, well, you no longer say, I am boring and stale. That's, you might be thinking that subconsciously. I'm not creative, I can't do anything like that person does. I'm not as good as that person. I suck at this and I can't do that. And you have like this massive explosion in your head of complete failure before you even start. So what you need to do is say, I am a creative person. Does that feel good? That feels good, right? You need to be able to say that to yourself and believe it, and that's actually going to get you into the field of creativity and get momentum going. Tip number 2, you've got to actually find the third option. This is what I mean by that. So every time you get into kind of a crunch in your life or in your business, and you come up with like option A or option B, well, Bob, we could do that or we could do that, and you just kind of assume that those are the only two things. You need to commit to yourself to always look for the third option, because guess what? That's when the creative brain comes out and says, okay, we got to think for 10 more minutes, but we're going to find this third option that nobody's thought about, and quite often you're taking parts of A and B and going, it's part C. But when you do that, when you come up with a third option, you push yourself into a new realm and you find new solutions. Tip number 3, read this book. This is from Austin Kleon. This guy is kind of the man, in my opinion, when it comes to getting creative. He wrote a book called Steal Like an Artist. He has a couple others that I suggest you read, but get this one. It's affordable on Amazon. I paid like 12 bucks, 13 bucks for it, I don't know. Anyway, what he talks about is how we all are striving to be original in our lives. We're all wanting to be more creative and build something worthwhile, but we don't feel like we're worthy of that pursuit. Instead, we've got all these heroes and we wish we could be like those heroes. Well, your job as a creative person, whether it's an entrepreneur or an artist, is to actually copy all of your heroes, and then you end up creating your own thing. We're not out there to copy people and take exactly what they're doing, but if you take a little bit from this hero that you have, and a little bit from that hero that you have, and a little bit from that hero you have, and you kind of put it into your own amalgamation of creation. Wow, amalgamation of creation. Tweet that. Now, you don't want to just rip their work off. That's plagiarism, and that's no good. But as you start to copy their work and you take a little bit from this person and a little bit from that person and you take a little bit from like 100 different people, you become your own original creation, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Get this book. All right, people, tip number 4 is in the bins. Let me okay, backing up, go back to like the world of analog for just a minute. I love paper journals. If you're a paper person, you can identify with this, but I'm not. I like computers and phones and stuff, but when it comes to getting creative, I gotta get away from the computer and I gotta sit down in a quiet space with a journal. So every day what I do is I open up my journal and I start just letting everything come out. And something about the process of using paper and a pen in my hands and actually touching that subject and connecting with it just brings out a better kind of brain flow, a brain dump, and that's something that a journal can do for you, so go get a journal. The next tip is to actually be boring. This is again coming from Austin's book, Still Like an Artist. I love this tip because he talks about how being creative is like crazy exhausting. It's tiring, it's hard to do to always be coming up with something new and great, or as an entrepreneur, if you've got to walk into your office and you've got to tackle every problem and come up with better solutions and better ways to do things, it's kind of draining at times. And so you need to have this boring schedule where you go to bed on time and you wake up on time and you go to the gym and you eat healthy and you've got this like routine that you do that allows your body to re-energize and recharge, because without that, you're gonna pass out. The next tip is something that everybody knows, but very few people do unless you're a writer. Writers do this all of the time. As an idea jumps into your head, you gotta write it down quickly. And I don't like carrying pads of paper around with me everywhere I go. I just don't have pockets for that stuff. You do have a phone, I presume. I have a phone, and in that there's an app called Trello. I love Trello because you can create this place where you can just dump ideas quickly and move on. So whether I'm on a walk or at work, the moment I get an idea to fix my business or to create a YouTube video or whatever it is that inspires me creatively, it goes there and then I forget about it. And the best part about that is when I need to create something new, I go to my list of ideas and there's like 10,000 of them, and I don't have to be overwhelmed. I can just pick one that inspires me for that moment and off I go. The next tip is kind of hard for me to do. It is to shut up. It's to be silent. And the fact is when you turn your brain off and you just kind of like zen out for a minute, your subconscious is actually a lot smarter than your consciousness. I don't know if I got that right, but you know what I mean. The brain has the ability to figure things out that you can't do on your own. So if you turn your head off and just let it do its job while you go for a quiet walk, or you sit on your couch, or even if you're playing video games, you're gonna have that aha moment, and that's because you let your brain do its job. You got out of the way. So practice being quiet, practice shutting up. I'm gonna go try and do that right now. Next, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to get creativity into your business, there's a book called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. I talk about this book all the time. I love it, but in that he talks about how if you get the environment right, human beings will do great things. And I believe that. He's talking about how to create a space where employees feel safe and valued so they create their best work. But as applied to this topic, if you get the environment right in your office, you can literally have creativity bloom overnight. And people who were once super like worried about sharing their ideas feel very comfortable doing that now. A lot of people look at me and say, you're an accountant. Why in the heck are you on YouTube or whatever? How do you come up with creative ideas? You're supposed to be a boring person. It's because I work on my environment. I care about what I do. I paint my walls orange. I put this cool, genius at work sign behind me. It just inspires me to go out and be a little different and be myself. Your job as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, is to not let people feel awkward around you if you're gonna have creativity in your business. So as you get your team around you and they start sharing ideas, you can't go, oh, that's a bad idea. That's a terrible idea. Why would you even say something like that? Instead, you gotta go, oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea. We could take that, let's write it on the board, and you gotta keep going. You know you're not supposed to shoot people's ideas down, but watch this. Let's say we're in a room together, and you share your idea, and I go, huh, well, okay, yeah, I guess. My body language says, that's a frickin' stupid idea. And my voice tone says, are you a moron? No, that's a bad idea. You should shut up and not share any more ideas. Instead, if you shared your idea and I went, Bob, awesome. Thanks for sharing that idea. Let's get it on the board. We can add to it and see what comes out of this. You start writing, and of course my energy level picks up. And I write your idea down, and you sit there in your chair and go, hey, I came up with a good idea. I'm gonna share some more ideas. And what happens is 1,000 ideas start coming out of your team. One of them is gonna be good, and you're gonna fix the solution. In your own personal life, you gotta do this with yourself as well. You can't have an idea and go, gee, Eddie, that was a stupid idea. Because now you're telling yourself, hey, moron, you can't come up with anything creative. You have to go, hey, I came up with a good idea, even if it sucks, okay? You do that, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel a little better about yourself, and those chemicals in your body start like rewarding you, thinking, wow, this is great. Those hormones or whatever they are, oxytocin, I don't know any of those things, but those things start flushing through your body. Your brain says, that was fun, I'm gonna come up with another idea. And so you keep going and going and going. Eventually you get 1,000 ideas and one of them's gonna stick. So here we are, my entrepreneurial friends, and I want to ask you a question. Answer it down in the section below. What are your tips for getting more creative? I would love to know how we can add to this list and just kind of make ourselves step up a level, step up our game, and actually create something beautiful with our lives. Now, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and click that big, beautiful red button over there that says subscribe. When you do that, magical fairies will come visit you and bless you and give you a long life that you will always be proud of. At the end of the day, know that I love you. I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.